Hello friends, Andy here, and we're just chuffed to tell you that today's video is brought to you in partnership with Surfshark, but more on that in a little bit. Earning a shot at the biggest belts in all of pro wrestling should be a profoundly challenging thing, and to be fair, it often is, unless you're one of these guys. I'm Andy from What Culture Wrestling, and here are the 10 weirdest ways to earn a wrestling title shot. Number 10. Literally stare at it. Paul Heyman's run as Raw Executive Director was a broad success, but when you're operating in a system as weird as WWE, weird things are still gonna happen. In 2019, with no story in place nor long-term plans, Braun Strowman set his sights on Seth Rollins' Universal Championship by setting his sights on Seth Rollins' Universal Championship. All Braun really did to earn his championship opportunity was gaze at the belt longingly, and he was ultimately announced the #1 contender. He didn't earn it, he just sort of played the role of creepy pretend best friends by hanging out with Rollins for a little bit in the faint sad hope of getting his hands on the hardware. Seth relented, having seemingly been given the power to make pay-per-view main events, and on we went to Clash of Champions, where Braun lost. Cool. And hey, seeing as Braun is now a free agent, the poor guy, after WWE unfortunately released him, maybe he could, I don't know, go and stare at the AEW and Impact logos until his non-compete expires? That is how it works, right? Number 9. Don't ask, don't get. On the subject of Braun and Seth, they literally asked for a shot at the Raw Tag Team titles on the 19th of August 2019 episode of Raw. This came about because the holders, the OC, had cost Braun a US title match by interfering in his match with AJ Styles. Rollins made the save and there and then demanded a shot at the tag team titles alongside his new mate, despite not actually being in a tag team with him. The request was granted, and later Strowman and Rollins used the sharpened chemistry they had forged over the arduous span of almost an hour and a half to capture the belts. Ha! And to think, people say tag wrestling doesn't mean anything in WWE anymore. Get those guys. Speaking of which, number 8. Get plugged from the audience as a small child. Little Nicholas was plugged from obscurity to partner Braun Strowman in his quest to capture the Raw Tag Team titles, famously at WrestleMania. It was a stern challenge. Individually, Sheamus and Cesaro are bruising powerhouses. Cesaro is a beast of a human being, and Sheamus is capable of caving your chest in with ferocious clubbing blows. So yeah, they're pretty strong individually, but what about together? Man, they must be unstoppable. Well no, together they were just an effing tag team, so screw him. Winning the tag team title as a pre-adolescent child was even easier than earning the opportunity. Nicholas trembled on the apron as Strowman decimated 2 men by himself in an abject mirror to Vince McMahon's mind. And of course, his formula for such good Number 7. Lose a lesser championship. Losing upwards is a common problem in pro wrestling, affecting almost every company from WWE to New Japan, where dropping a mid-card title isn't seen as a meaningful loss, but something that can free the wrestler up so that they can go on and chase the bigger belt. Look at Samoa Joe in 2019. Dropping his United States Championship to Ricochet at Stomping Grounds, Joe simply attacked WWE Champion Kofi Kingston the following night on Raw, with the bout then made official for Extreme Rules before we'd even gotten to SmackDown. There was no effort made to, I don't know, put Joe in a #1 contenders match or maybe earn this chance another way. Instead, WWE was simply too lazy to be lazy.
Now, as we mentioned, today's video is brought to you in partnership with Surfshark, who are our favourite VPN providers here at What Culture, because the last time we worked together, they let me do this.
Howdy, partner. Want to watch new episodes of 9 a Day Fiancé?
By now, you've heard about the benefits of a virtual private network and how great they are in terms of allowing you to access your favourite shows and websites in other countries. But they're about so much more than that.
Allow us to be serious for a moment.
Did you know that some websites increase their prices based on your location and browsing history? Not with a VPN. Did you know when accessing public Wi-Fi, your confidential data can be accessed by malicious third parties? Not with a VPN. Did you know a lot of banks will immediately freeze your account if you attempt to access it from another country? An understandable precaution, but not with a VPN. Did you know that some countries are starting to ban things like Facebook and TikTok because they absolutely hate the idea of you having any fun? Not with a VPN, Donnie. I'll floss all damn day long if I want to. Well, thanks to Surfshark, you can be the master of your own digital destiny across unlimited devices thanks to the incredible offer we have with them. Simply click the link in the description and enter promo code WhatCulture for 83% off and 3 extra months for free. 83% off. If I removed 83% of my clothing, we wouldn't be able to put the video out. That's how much that is. And on that mental image, back to the video.
Number 6. Be American. Wasn't it rather convenient that the Patriot just so happened to arrive in the WWF when an anti-American crusader was world champion? The Patriot claimed that he was prepared to teach a lesson to whoever talked bad about his country, but it just so happened to be the WWF champion. The Patriot stood up for America, endured a kicking from the Hart Foundation, and suddenly found himself in a match against Bret Hart 2 weeks removed from his debut. This tells us that if you want a title shot in pro wrestling, all you have to do is assume and manifest the most hated trait of your intended rival, and boom, there you go. But unsurprisingly, the Patriot's pro-America quest failed, and he was gone from WWE little over a month after losing to Bret. Number 5. Be Italian. We are global entertainers, say the WWE superstars, professionally trained athletes. But we are not invincible. When we step into the ring, we take real risks and endure unimaginable pain, broken bones, torn muscles, dislocations, separations. Be smart, be safe. Don't try this at home, unless you are Santino Marella, who was introduced in kayfabe as a plucky, lucky fan and not a professionally trained athlete. WWE allowed this kayfabe fan to step into the ring, even if, as a total novice, there was a considerable chance that he might rupture a disc that fragmented into his spinal column. On the 16th of April 2007 episode of Raw, Vince McMahon offered an open challenge on behalf of Umaga. Nobody in the back fancied a crack at the big man and his Intercontinental Championship, so the evil owner shouted out the audience. Up stepped Santino, who signed a hold harmless agreement and showed enough babyface fire to frighten Vince into adding a no-holds-barred stipulation, leading to Bobby Lashley assisting the victory. Number 4. Mock the deceased father of your rival. If you wanted a title shot in late 90s WWE, all you had to do was be an insensitive asshole to your grieving colleague. The Big Boss Man delivered a heartfelt eulogy to Big Show's recently deceased father in the autumn of 1999. For whatever reason, Show misinterpreted it and sent a dumpster tumbling into the car in which Boss Man and Prince Albert were seated. This miscommunication catalyzed a grudge feud so intense that Show demanded a match from Vince McMahon, who gave in on the condition that the Boss Man first defeated The Rock. He did, following interference from Albert. So the formula is this: befriend a man named after a genital piercing, mock the, and I quote, dead daddy of the world champion, and move up a division or two. Number 3. Break your neck. Hardcore Holly fancied himself as a main event act. In a legendary tidbit revealed on Something to Wrestle with Bruce Pritchard, Holly once pitched his own world title run in front of the entire roster. "How about you give me the belt?" he said. "And then what?" some WWE official asked, and Holly responded, "And then I'll beat everybody." And let's be honest, headliner Holly would have been pretty good fun. Just a surly, limited but hilarious brawler beating the piss out of multiple geeks month in, month out. It's such a great concept. Holly beats everybody. But what happens after that? "I'll beat him again" is honestly the most accurate guess as to what he would have said next. This didn't happen, sadly, but the perennial mid-carder did once receive a shot at Brock Lesnar's WWE title because Lesnar had broken his neck the last time they wrestled. When Holly returned at Survivor Series 2003, he got himself disqualified from the traditional elimination match after attacking Lesnar before the bell. He lost the match, which somehow granted him a crack at the big gold belt. Number 2. Remove fuzzy dice from a pole. Wrestling is all about grinding and scratching and clawing your way to the top. and after that torturous climb, glory awaits. But sometimes it's about fuzzy dice instead. On the 17th of October 2008 episode of SmackDown, commentary previewed the next week's main event between The Undertaker and Triple H. Gigantic, commentary called it. And then, speaking of gigantic, those fuzzy dice are also gigantic. WWE's then Divas had to retrieve the dice to earn a shot at the Divas Championship. And what an ingenious prop. In the eyes of your average 21st century sexist, women love things that are pink and fluffy. So WWE booked Maria, Brie Bella, Maurice, Natalia and Victoria like they were transfixed. And if you thought that's where Vince Russo's legacy ends on this list, you are sorely mistaken. Number 1, check the bins. In 2000, WCW television was a migraine-inducing piss storm of continuity. Vince Russo et al. Couldn't even decide whether wrestling was real or not, much less keep track of which wrestlers were in cahoots with who, and if so-and-so had already swerve-turned on whoever the fudge. Absolutely nothing made sense from one incident to another, with the bizarre exception of Jim Duggan locating the television championship that Scott Hall had trashed the year prior in his capacity as a janitor. According to Duggan, he had discovered something, in his own words, that was covered in goo and was real shiny. Hall had trashed the belt in Denver, Colorado. Duggan recovered it in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. To suspend disbelief, you had to buy into the idea that WCW took literally everything from show to show, including the contents of the bin, even if they had zero use for it. Happily, this was easy, since WCW did that frequently to exorbitant cost with the talent they flew in but didn't book. After a 2-month Saturday night exclusive reign, the title was deactivated once more when Vince Russo and Eric Bischoff rebooted all storylines live on TV. They had no need for a garbage mid-card title when they were already planning to cover the world title in garbage and piss. So that's our list, but what do you guys think? Let us know down in the comment section below. After that, don't forget to like, share, subscribe and ring the bell for notifications. Then, you can follow us on Twitter at WhatCultureWWE and myself at Andy H. Murray, where you can tell me how wrong I am. Goodbye.